Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. Today is an exciting day. We're going to put the lift kit and new suspension on the Land Cruiser. So I ordered the Old Man Emu lift kit with coil springs and shocks and the steering damper and the caster correction bushings, and I've never done a lift kit before, so this will be my first time ever doing any kind of lift kit. I watched some YouTube videos. They seemed pretty helpful, pretty straightforward, and so I'm going to give it a shot. I think I'll start with the rear axle. It seems a little less complicated because it doesn't have all the caster correction bushings and all that. It's just springs and shocks. So I'll start there and build my confidence before I move forward onto the front. So stay tuned. So I'm going to start first by jacking it up and putting jack stands under the frame as high as I can, so that then I can let the back axle droop as far as it can. So I had to move the car a little bit forward. There's a crack in the concrete and it was giving me trouble. So we moved everything forward. We're going to start over again. Okay, so I've got the jack stands on the frame, so the frame can't come down any lower, and then the floor jack is on the diff there, so I can raise and lower the axle. That will allow me to get the springs and the shocks out. But in order for me to droop it all the way, I can see that this e-brake line right here is getting tight, so I'm going to loosen this bracket up here off the frame. So give me a little more slack in that line. At this point, I think that's the only thing I got to loosen up. I think everything else has room to move. There we go. There. And then I'm just going to put this right back in the same hole so I don't lose it. Alright, that gives me some movement there. Alright. Okay, I'm gonna try and loosen the shock towers up there. Okay. I got all my, like, 4 extensions on this thing. Oh, this is gonna be interesting. Well, I sprayed stuff on it yesterday, but I should have sprayed up on top. I didn't see that. It was late last night I sprayed this with PB Blaster, but I couldn't see that I can spray it up on top, so I'm going to spray it now. So this is the bottom of the shock tower, or the shock, sorry. And I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but this bolt is kind of rounded over and flared, probably from rocks and stuff hitting it. And so the socket won't fit over it. So I'm going to have to file these flats flat again, and so I can get the socket on there. There we go. Fits good. Okay, so I got the bolt out, but it's pretty flattened and chewed up. So I think I'll replace this bolt. The threads inside seem okay, but on the other side, it broke. So this job just became a whole lot harder. I'm gonna have to drill and tap that and buy a new bolt. That really sucks. Okay, so I got a new bolt, and because the other threads were pretty tore up, and I mean, I haven't taken the shock off or anything, but just want to make sure everything's gonna fit. And I also got a tap, so I'm just gonna clean the threads out with this tap. Because that other bolt that came out was in rough shape. I think it might be worth just cleaning these. Let's just see how it fits. Hey, that thread's on nice. Cool, that's gonna work. Thought I'd figure that out before I proceed with all the disassembly. So this is the one that broke. Just twisted right off. So I gotta drill and tap that. And I'm thinking I'm gonna do it now at the beginning of the project while I'm waiting for the PB blaster to work on the rest of the bolts so that I don't break them all off like this. So now's as good a time as any. I think I'm gonna start by drilling a little hole and getting one of those reverse thread things. I can't think of the name, but they're supposed to draw that out of there. If I can do that, then I may not have to drill and tap, and it could be a little simpler. So we'll start there. So this is the extractor I was talking about. Couldn't remember the name. Extractor. Anyway, you can see that it's reverse threads so that I can turn it counterclockwise and it just drives itself further into the bolt to pull it out. But you got to drill a hole in the middle of the bolt to be able to pull it. So I'm going to start with an 1/8 inch bit and work my way up until this fits in there. Well, it just got worse because now the bit broke off inside the hole. So that's pretty terrible. I'm gonna work on getting that out now. Okay, so I've been drilling it out and started chiseling on the edge of it, and you can see the threads in there. It's starting to fold. Sorry, the flashlight's flashing. That's weird. Camera tricks. Anyway, starting to fold it up in there. I think we'll get it out eventually. Well, that's a chunk of the bolt drilled out through the center. It collapsed in there and I pulled it out. I still got a ways to go though. Okay. Now tapping it. Got all the bolt out the old threads, reshaping them. Bottoms out there, right there. Back out. See if our new bolt fits. See if I can put it on there without crossing. Look at that. Oh, it worked. Alright, moving on. Alright. At this point I'm going to just work on loosening bolts while I'm waiting for the PB blaster to finish its job on the shock brackets. So I'm just going to loosen this bolt because he's got to come off anyway later. But I do have a new rule. The rule is no breaker bars. Hey, that's turning like it should. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna leave the bolt in there because I don't want this to fall down yet. I don't want to have to avoid it. I'll go loosen the other side now. I got that one off. That's good. Okay, so I got the passenger side bolts loose. I used a torch and then an impact and then a couple good grunts on the wrench, and I got them loose. So I'm going to start pulling them out now. Okay, got him. And then this bolt on the bottom of the shock's already out. So just gotta work it off of there somehow. Okay. Got it. Now we gotta take this apart. Okay, so this is the passenger side shock that I just took off. You can see here the bushing is totally shot, all ripped up. And there's whatever aftermarket brand they had. Mountain Rider is what it says. And you can see if I push it in, doesn't come back out. They're shot, and that's okay because we're going to make it taller anyway. So I'm just going to take the bracket off because I need to use that. I'm a little surprised at how easy this was. I have been shooting it with PB Blaster, but way easier than the bracket bolts were, that's for sure. Okay, there's our bracket, passenger side. Let's see if we can get the driver's side off now. Okay, I got the new shock set up. I had to put that bushing in there, and then I set this up, washer, bushing, bracket, bushing, washer, nut. That gets torqued down to 51 foot-pounds according to the repair manual. So this one, obviously I take this sleeve off and this goofy bracket that's just holding it. So I'll take that off later before I actually install it in the vehicle. Okay, I got the driver's side. I was charging batteries on the camera so I didn't get it on film, but I heated up the bolts with the torch and then put some muscle into turning them, the impact just wouldn't do it. I got kind of the weak impact, I think. Anyway, I got it. It's out. I'm happy, and that none of them broke, so that's good. I may replace the bolts anyway, though, just because I don't know if they're weakened by heating them up with a torch like that. Okay, so took these off to give us a little room. Now I'm going to lower the axle down as far as it'll droop so I can get the springs out. What are we hanging from? That's not too bad. There's one. Apparently you gotta save that. On the driver's side, this one is not quite as loose as the other one. Let's see here. I might have to kind of push down on it a little bit. Put some weight on it. There we go. Sweet. Okay, let's go get all our new stuff ready. Okay, here's the new spring. Getting ready to put it in. I put that rubber thingy on the top there. I did measure them and compared to the old springs. These are about 1.25 inches taller. It's supposed to be a 2-inch lift. I don't know how that works. Maybe the other ones weren't originals. The shocks weren't original, but I'm guessing the springs would be original. Anyway, we're gonna see if we can get this in there. Getting there. I got it. Oh man, I'm almost there. Oh, there we go. Gosh. All right. Okay, now that I got the springs in, I can raise the axle back up, reattach these, and then work on the shocks. Okay, I think I'm ready to put the shock in here on the passenger side. And I'm thinking I want to start with
I'm going to go in reverse of how I took it off. I'm going to start on the bottom here and get that on there. There. That's on all the way. And then line up the top, I think. So I did something kind of stupid and I put this bracket on the shock the wrong way. It goes this way. You can tell because you can see the marks where the bolts were. That goes down. And I couldn't figure out why it wasn't fitting up in there correctly because I had it backwards. So I'm going to bolt that on correctly. Okay, so I took one of the rear shocks back out and I'll show you what I did. I thought this brass washer, or whatever that is, I thought it went down here on the bottom. It does not. It goes here on the top, and that little bump out right there is what self-centers it in the hole on that bracket. It goes there, and then the bushing, and then the bushing, and then the washer. So that's what it should look like. Just like that. And then I gotta reuse the old washer for down at the bottom. Okay, we're gonna try this again now that I did it right. So we'll put the bottom on first. Okay, got the bottom on. I can line up the top. Okay. I actually am probably going to need to raise up the axle a little bit. So I bought new bolts for up in there because I thought whoever has to do this next, they're going to find those old bolts had kind of rounded a little bit on the head of them. So I got new bolts. That'll make it easier. And I'm going to put some anti-seize on these things. That'll also do whoever that next person is a favor. Alright, now let's get this up in there. Waiting for it. Alright, I got that one started. Good. Now I gotta try to reach this other one. Use this extension. Okay, so I got both bolts are started and I can move them by hand, which means they're not cross-threading, which is good. Put some anti-seize on this one too. There we go. Okay, so again I'm gonna start by taking this metal hanger thing off of there. The shock will start to expand. And meanwhile, I'll get it pressed onto here, which is not too bad. Goes on easy. And then it's gonna start going up. torque setting on 51. There it is. These ones are supposed to be 37. Two.